up? Oh, yes, awesome. South Africa, UK, love it. Lots from South Africa. Great. All right. Well, I'm sure a lot of you guys that are joining from South Africa are from Lizelle's workshop, who I just adore. Love, love, love Lizelle. She's a very dear friend of mine, and I just love all that she does. She's such a giver. So um, she inspires me regularly. I'm lucky enough that I get to meet with her like every other week. So we're in a really great networking pod that has allowed me to get to know her over the last year. So it's been amazing. Okay, so I just want to dive right into what we're going to be doing over these next 3 days, which is connecting the dots and opening up to possibility around like how to shift out of being really, really stuck and becoming unstoppable. Let me just mute my phone. And so that's what we're here to do. And this is what we're going to be doing together. So today is all about, understanding why your nervous system is constantly sabotaging your progress. And then tomorrow we're going to dive into breaking limiting beliefs and creating a new identity. And day 3 is all about the missing link to your success and how you can actually really become unstoppable. Okay. All right. Just checking on you guys. I will keep an eye on the chat over here. Feel free to pop in questions whenever something comes up. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be interactive. We're really all here showing up to learn something and to get something so that we can try and move our life in the direction that we really, really want it to go. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself. I have experienced lots of things. I have dealt with anxiety and depression myself. I have addiction in my family. I have eating disorder in my family. I have bipolar disorder in my family. I come from a super dysregulated upbringing. And all of this to say that when I set onto my path to really shift my life and create tangible and real change that set me on the path of mindset work, it also then took me down this path of better understanding why I could know intellectually so many things, but why I actually was still stuck and couldn't move forward. And that's where the breath work, nervous system regulation really comes into play and plays a part. So, I know that a lot of people, I actually have never met somebody that hasn't dealt with anxiety or depression. So if you're one of those people, you would be the first human being I've ever come in contact with that hasn't experienced that. And, life is messy. So it's pretty hard to throw a stone in this world and not hit someone who hasn't struggled with depression, anxiety, addiction, things like that, that are can be pretty devastating and hard to move through. So as we're all here trying to create better lives and, really create strong businesses and get us from A to B, we're also all dealing with life, right? I feel like, especially for women, that's a really, really huge challenge is like we have all this life stuff going on that always feels like it's getting in the way of us making these business accomplishments. So I can honestly say that through all of the work that I've done, nervous system regulation is imperative. Like it's not nice. It's not like it sometimes work. It's imperative for growth and progress. It's not an option. So for a lot of people, that is sometimes a new concept. Let me ask you guys, just checking the chats. How many of you have, and I'm sure it's going to be just put a 1 in the comments, like how many of you have made lists of the things that you know you need to do and then you don't do them? Or you've known exactly what would move your business forward, but you just cannot make yourself take that action, right? You have clarity, you have the plan, you have the vision, and yet you're still not moving forward. You're still completely stuck. Yes, 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 right. This is like the biggest common complaint that I have with clients who are really, really focused on trying to move their business forward. Obviously, this has a direct relationship to trying to move your relationships forward, trying to move your health forward, your wealth, your business. So this is all connected. And I will lovingly say that there's nothing wrong with you. You're not alone. You're just human. This is just how our makeup and how our brain works. This is a relationship conflict with yourself. So it's, when you say that you want to do something, but you don't do it, that's actually being in conflict with yourself, right? It's like arguing with yourself, whether you rationalize the reasons why you don't, you're still in conflict because you want to do something and you're not doing it. So the main goal of this 3-day workshop is for you to say you want to do something and then actually do it, right? Like, how much would our lives change if we could just do that? If we could say what we want to do, name it, write it down, and then actually do it. Like, our lives would change immediately, in fact, immediately. So that is the point of this 3-day workshop. It is for you to be able to say what you want to do and do it, and then be able to do it without this like internal resistance of inner chatter around, doubt, disbelief, and self-limitation. So all that to say is that all of this happens by regulating your nervous system. So once you can become aware and you can learn the very, very simple tools about regulating your nervous system, this becomes a lot easier. So we're going to feel the difference first. I am going to take you guys through a very quick guided breathwork meditation. So we're going to start with that. I've done workshops and lots of different ways where the breathwork comes at the end and all the information is in the front. And this time I'm going to just start you guys off with some breathwork right out of the gate. So before we do that, I just want you guys to know, I want you to take notice of how you're feeling right now, like how you came into this workshop. Now, I know since a lot of you guys said that you are zooming in from South Africa, you guys are in the evening. So everybody's on a little bit of a different time zone. Some of you are finishing out your day, and some of you guys are just starting your day. So just notice where in your body what you feel right now. Like, did you come in feeling really tense? Like your shoulders are tense, maybe you're clenching your jaw, or maybe you're fatigued, you're exhausted, you're a little foggy, maybe you're a little racy. How's your overall energy? Are you anxious? Are you calm? Maybe you're just neutral. Again, this is just to notice, no judgment, just awareness. So all of this is to point out that you're sitting in the now, in the present, and that requires conscious awareness. So if you are not grounding yourself in your body and noticing how you're feeling in the moment, then you're somewhere else, right? And we only actually make progress when we're in the now, because that's when all the good stuff happens. Very anxious. Yes, I see you, Charlene. Not uncommon. I think a lot of people on a regular basis are very anxious, whether it's the morning, whether it's the afternoon, or whether it's at night. So that is a direct result of dysregulation, right? Anxiety is projected fears of the future of what hasn't happened. And so that's where a lot of us live when we're stuck in that loop of dysregulation. Okay, so let's regulate together. Okay, I'm going to switch to my headphones. I'm also just going to drop into the chat some contraindications. Chat. We're going to be doing some box breathing. And so if anybody is pregnant or has cardiovascular issues, blood pressure issues, history, stroke, seizure, epilepsy, don't do this particular practice. Okay, just breathe in and out through your nose slowly. You can do it on the 4 count. Just don't do any holds. Okay? All right, great. So get comfortable. And we are off. Okay, awesome. So sit up nice and tall. You're welcome to lie down if that's more preferable, but I do still want you guys to stay alert for the rest of the workshop. So, all right, so we're just going to be doing some box breathing. So just imagine a string pulling you up from the top of your head. And let your shoulders down, drop them away from your ears. And then for this technique, you're going to be breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. I know I said out through your mouth. I want you to do it both through your nose. We'll breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. You might like to imagine tracing a box or one side for each phase of your breath. So when you're ready, take a deep belly breath in through your nose and feel your belly rise. Oh, I don't know where that is. Make sure everybody's muted. We'll start that again. So place a hand on your belly and inhale through your belly. Feel it rise. Hold. Exhale, let your belly fall. And hold. You'll inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. Inhale, belly rise. Hold. Exhale, belly falls. Hold. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Do this at your own pace, keeping it nice and equal. Your breath. And notice if your mind has wandered. Amazing. Bring your attention back to the sensation of your breath. Loosening through your jaw, releasing the shoulders, relaxing through the belly. Allow your breath to deepen, to be full, round, and full of life. joy, gratitude, and inspiration. Be in awe of who you are and what you have created on this earth. Stay with your breath. Each exhale deepening into serenity, tranquility, and transcendence. Notice any tension in the body and allow this to melt away with a gentle sigh. And on your next inhale, take a deep belly breath, expanding, and hold toward the sky. Keep holding, but soften your shoulders, your belly, your hips, your thighs. And when you're ready, with a sound like the ocean meeting the shore, sigh it out. They say that where our focus goes, our energy flows. So I wonder, as you go about your day today, if you lose focus or you find yourself caught in someone else's noise, could you look forward, anchor your attention to the deeper truth within you? Okay, great. Shrink that down. Awesome. Okay, well, just take a moment. Let me know how you're feeling now. That we have a nice little reset, relaxed. Good. Do you feel anything shift in your body? Any tension, fogginess, energy levels? Are we just overall very relaxed? Softness. Aww. Doesn't take long to shift, to have a really, really strong shift in your physical state. That's why breathing is such an amazing tool to truly affect your nervous system. It's one of the only tools that we have to affect our autonomic nervous system. So it really is amazing. You yawned a lot. Yes, that's awesome. Yawning is a release of stored energy. So that's a really, really good sign. Amazing, amazing, awesome. All right. Well, we are here to connect the dots. So most people are trying to change their life through motivation alone. You know, And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck and also get really frustrated with themselves and will oftentimes call themselves lazy or, try and figure out the right motivator. Oh, if I just do it this way, if I just do it that way, or and the problem is that that's just not the way that our brain changes. It actually needs to be rewired. So your brain, like the physical brain, is your hardware, right? So it's designed to keep you safe, and it has like it's got limiting abilities in terms of what it alone is capable of doing. So we have our mind, which is our software. So this is our programming. And this is what helps us create a relationship with our experiences and the world. This is sort of like what gives our life meaning is our mind. It's the software, right? So it's things that we've experienced have been modeled and taught over the course of our life, which is why, right, every human is born the same, but depending on where you were born, who you were born to, the circumstances in which you were born into, like that is why we're all so different. Our brains fundamentally start out the same, but our software, our programming is what makes us all so different. So the way that you get to really affect change and shift in your life is not just through, thinking your way there. You have to actually rewire these pathways that have been trodden on for oftentimes decades, right? Like a lot of us, I think, are around the same age. And so we have been walking these pathways for decades. So you need to update your software, your operating system. You need to regulate your nervous system, and you need to do that by accessing your unconscious. And that way you can let go of your old wiring and your limiting beliefs and create new frameworks. So this is all about changing what's inside so that your old life doesn't keep repeating on loop, which is like this hamster wheel that we all at some point or another have found ourselves on. So let's talk about quickly, like who are you? Like what makes up a person? Can anybody want to guess? Anybody want to guess like what at the most basic level, what in our that has to do with our software, what mind and body? That's like very literal. Yes, we are a body, we are a mind, but like what of the software actually makes up creates like who we are? Like what is it? Life experience, psyche, soul. Close. These are more like these are more like physical things. I'm talking like what is it that makes somebody versus somebody who's somebody else? Like what makes one person different from another? Right? Like those are all like literal things. Yes, your body, your mind, your life experiences, your experiences, your soul, DNA, that's like very literal. You can't have that without our belief of ourselves and how we see ourselves. Your personality. Ah, getting closer, Louise. Okay. So we are a combination of our behaviors and our habits, right? So behaviors and habits, that is software. So this combination of your behaviors and your habits create your identity. And if you want to change who you are, if you want to change, let's say, like your results of where your life is, if we want to just take it like very black and white, like this is the result of my life. I'm not happy with the result of my life. How am I going to shift that? Like this is where my business is. I'm not happy with where my business is. How am I going to change that? Well, you need to change your habits and your behaviors, right? Like that's the fastest way to elicit change. It's no different than, right? Like people love to say, oh my God, that person is so talented. That person is so lucky. That person is just like born with the ability to do certain things. But the fact is, talent is just habit and behaviors over a period of time. Like it's just practice. It's practice doing things in a certain way, in a certain like a certain habit and a certain behavior over a period of time, it's going to get you results. Like you will fundamentally change by changing your habits and changing your behaviors. There's no way around it. You know, if you practice something long enough, you're going to get good at it. Like that's who we are as human beings expressed, right? It's habits and behaviors. So let's dive into like our little life triangle. Okay, I want you to think about your life in with 3 points: your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Okay, I'm going to I'm going to share my screen and put up a slide. So if you guys want to like screenshot it, um, you can, or you can just write it down. But let me share it first. Okay. Okay. This is
Yeah, we
weird.
see it now.
I lost my chat when I shared my screen.
I think if you hover down on the bottom bar, it'll pop up.
Oh,
Bottom area, it
thank
might pop up.
you.
Yeah.
It's just like stuck in a really weird place. Thank you. Okay. So, this is your health, wealth, and relationship triangle, right? Um, these are like the main areas of our life that we feel, that are the main areas of our life that typically we want to improve or are happy with or want to shift or something. So I'd like you to rate it, like where, just right now to start, where are you? Like 1 through 10, on a scale of 1 to 10, your health, your wealth, and your relationships. Like, is your is your wealth where you want it to be? Like, is your business doing what you want it to be doing? If it's not, you get to look at the relationship that you have with yourself. If your relationships aren't thriving, it's an opportunity to look at the relationship that you have with yourself. Same thing with health. Like if your health is struggling, you get to take a look at the relationship that you have with yourself because it always, always comes back to the relationship with self, right? You are the common denominator, right? I know that we are sort of programmed over the course of our life to want to put the responsibility onto somebody else. Um, but that's just avoiding responsibility and it doesn't actually get you anywhere. So here's what I'd like you to understand. I'm going to stop sharing because it's kind of annoying actually. Um, is how your nervous system is actually really working and why it feels like it's sabotaging you, you know? Um, your nervous system has one job, and that is to keep you alive. That's it. Just keep you alive, right? It's an alert system. So it's constantly scanning for threats, real or perceived, right? It activates your survival response, your sympathetic nervous system. So this is your fight, flight, freeze, fawn, your fight is obviously when you get aggressive. Your flight is avoid, procrastinate, run away, freeze, shut down. You can't move, you're paralyzed. Or your fawn is like people pleasing. You're an overgiver, you lose yourself. You say yes when you really mean no. So here's the problem. Your nervous system can't actually tell the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. Not any longer, not with the type of world that we live in. So it can't really tell the difference between a lion chasing you and an overdue bill or, a difficult conversation that you need to have, launching your business, posting on social media, making a sales call. These are all things that can elicit a stress response and a fight or flight response. So to your nervous system, all of this feels like a threat. So when you're in survival mode, which is like your brain, you you literally cannot access the pathways in your prefrontal cortex, the front part of your brain that can think creatively and really make like strategic decisions, move toward your goals, take calculated risks, create change. Because when this decision-making part, this front prefrontal cortex, is offline, your planning and executive functioning is non-existent. It's just offline. So you can't even access it, which is again part of the reason why we feel like we're on this loop, this hamster wheel, and why we get so frustrated, which also then creates more fight or flight. Like it is this looping situation that we constantly find ourselves in, which is why we always feel like we're stuck, right? That is fundamentally like where that feeling of stuck comes from. Um, this brings me to like what depression and anxiety really is. So, depression is really ruminating about the past, being stuck on a result of the past, not accepting the past as it is, right? Like we know we can't change the past, and yet we will replay past conversations, past events in our brain as though, and then fantasize about like, oh, if I had just done that differently, like it doesn't matter. It's done. It's over. It happened. And it's the only way it could have happened, or it would have happened a different way. So part of that is just accepting what is and then using that as neutral information and then moving forward. Anxiety is just the fear of the future, right? Your brain is always trying to predict what's going to happen as a way of protection. So it's going to run scenarios from past experiences and project them onto the future, even though there's no like truth or like nobody has a crystal ball. That's not necessarily going to happen. So it's really just like a waste of time. We ruminate and we spit these fears into the future, and that's what our anxiety is. So it's fearing the future. Both of these keep you out of the present, which is the only place that you can really be grounded and actually be in your prefrontal cortex, in your executive functioning, be in your body, and sitting in the now. This requires conscious awareness. So, how do we become really aware of our patterns, our feelings, and our behaviors so that we can change them? Because you can't change anything if you're not aware of it, right? It's like you don't know what you don't know until you know. So until you allow yourself to like really become aware of these things, there's no way for you to change it. Again, so that's how we like get stuck on this hamster wheel. Which is really, really important to be aware of, because until you're aware of it, it's really like it's not your fault. It takes a lot to acknowledge that you're stuck and that you're frustrated and that you would like to become more aware of what the things that you're doing in your life are, right? Like really taking responsibility and accountability for like, why am I stuck? Like, let me go a little bit deeper and figure out how I'm holding myself back from the life that I want to live, from the business that I want to have, from the relationship that I want to get. Like if we are 100% responsible and accountable for our lives, then we reclaim all of the control, right? We get to take that back and be accountable for it and be like, okay, now I get to make changes and become aware of patterns that are sabotaging my life. So, how do we do this? Ha ha ha. Okay. Well, as I've said, like you can't just think your way out of it, right? You do have to make an awareness. You have to slowly die to the ego. I mean, some people can do it really quickly, but it's usually quite a process. Um, and it is a way of really letting go and becoming grounded in your body so that you can see clearly. So this is why you can't just think your way through it. You really have to, this is a being, a feeling. You have to feel your way through it. This is why, it's like you can know what you want to do, but you still can't make yourself do it, right? You can have the plan, but you're just not able to execute it. You can have clarity and still stay stuck. These are all examples of why you can't just think your way through a nervous system problem. Because you're basically trying to use the part of your brain that is not online. So let's see. Can you think your way out of dysregulation? What does everybody think? Can you think your way out of dysregulation? Can you just say to yourself, um, this is ridiculous. I should just stop worrying. Oh my gosh, there's nothing to be afraid of. I should just not be afraid. And you should just do it. Anybody really been able to think their way out of that? Is that like, has anybody had that experience? Yeah, no. I've tried a lot. I know, I wish I could. Because it's not an intellectual thinking thing, right? It's like knowing we know all the things that are good for us. We know how to eat right. We know how to take care of our bodies. We know what good sleep hygiene looks like, but we don't do it, right? It's like you can know all the things and still not be able to do. And that is because it's a nervous system dysregulation issue, and you just can't think your way out of that. Um, let me let me let me give you an example of like the energies. So I'm sure we've all noticed that it's easier to feel down than it is to feel happy, right? Like negative energy is heavier and stronger. Has anybody ever noticed that? Like one negative comment can wipe out 10 positive ones. Actually gets even more stuck, right? Okay. Tanique, that's a really yeah, that's really great. You can talk your way out of certain things, but then it does get stuck in the body. That's right. Um, you know, like negative energy, like one bad day can completely overshadow an amazing week. Negative energy is very, very strong. This is just biology. This is your brain wired to scan for threats, not for blessings. But you can train it differently through regulation and awareness. This is again like talent, like practice, re like creating new framework so that you are constantly scanning for wins and gains, trains and changes your nervous system and your mind to start to look for confirmation bias in a positive way. So we all know, I don't want to assume that we all know, but like confirmation bias is something that our brain does all the time. Like that is what helps it categorize all the information that is coming into us, coming into our experience. And so confirmation bias is, I mean, it's what all the algorithms are doing. It is going to reinforce your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that you already have. So if you think you're forgetful or late, like it is going to highlight and remind you of all the ways that you have been late, forgetful. Like that's what it's designed to do. It's just a mechanism. It doesn't think of it as positive or negative. It's very neutral. It just does what it's programmed to do. So you can reprogram that. When you start to focus on your wins and your gains, then your brain is changed into finding confirmation bias for that. It's going to start showing you all the ways that you have been successful. Like it is just practice, behavior, and habits. So when you're dysregulated all the time, like what is it costing you? It's costing you time, money, energy, right? The hours spinning in indecision, the offers that you don't launch, the constant anxiety that drains you, and relationships, right? You can't be present, or you snap at people that you love, or you're not even in a relationship because you've withdrawn and you've isolated. You lose intimacy and connection. And so here's the thing, like the longer you stay dysregulated, the more your brain reinforces that pattern. Because again, it doesn't think of it as positive or negative. It's just programmed to do that. So it's literally your nervous system staying stuck. So success is moving forward without limitation, okay? Um, that is the goal, right? Not perfection, not having it all figured out, just moving forward with the internal limitations that have been without the internal limitations that have been holding you back, really, really trying to quiet that chatter. And that's through nervous system regulation, right? And how do we regulate our nervous system? Through breath work. Like it's truly that simple and that easy. And I know that we did like a 5 to 7 little breath work reset, but you can literally do it in a minute. You can do it in your car, you can do it in an elevator, you can do it while you're walking, in bed, right before you go to sleep, in bed, right after you wake up in the morning, like in the shower. You can practice these nervous system regulators, especially when you're caught in like a thought loop, right? They're really, really great for interrupting your thought patterns and really bring yourself back into your body so that you can regulate and you can turn your executive functioning back on so you can see clear of all that fear. So that's what's really, 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 really important. And that is something that I want to leave you guys with today is like, practice your box breathing and see how that actually can interrupt your thought patterns. Um, I'm going to skip around a little bit because I do have so much in here, but I want to be really, really mindful of where we are time-wise. Okay, so I do want to touch on how, so many of us really love to avoid being uncomfortable. I mean, this is like the number one thing that we avoid. And it's going to be different for everybody, right? Everybody avoids different things because everybody is a different human being and different things make different people uncomfortable, right? Like my daughter, who is a performer, is not at all uncomfortable with public speaking or going up on stage and acting. This is her strength. So she would not consider that something that she'd want to avoid, where like most people would, right? I mean, public speaking is probably one of the number one fears that most people have. But this is the thing about like stepping into stepping outside of our comfort zone, right? It's like the yin and yang. The pain is what pushes you to make the change, right? Like you want to avoid, we'll use like health and wellness. This is just always like the easiest example. Um, you want to avoid not looking your best in a bikini that you're getting ready to go on vacation for, right? So that future pain of like, oh my gosh, I really want to go and enjoy and sit by the pool and like feel really, really good about myself. I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel embarrassed. And I don't want to feel down. So that's the pain that pushes you to like make the change of I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat better, right? So that's like the plan. And that can be challenging, right? It is. It's hard to change our eating habits. It's hard to change our exercise habits, certainly when we're coming at it from a very particular mindset. However, the other side of that coin, we know, is it's not only going to make you feel better, like physically, emotionally, mentally, because you're going to be feeding your body better food and you're going to be exercising, but then you get this reward of like looking amazing in your bikini. So it is this yin and yang of like you have to do the hard, uncomfortable stuff to get you to the other side of that coin, right? We all know this, but it's the dysregulation that keeps us from pursuing and persisting and being consistent. So this ultimately comes down to the relationship that you have with yourself, right? Because as I said before, like you are the only common denominator. Like nobody else is putting on your shoes and walking your life for you. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else can do the work. Nobody else can change it. Like we all wish that winning the lottery, right? We all think that that's like, oh, that would be the easiest way out. Like everything would be sorted. I could have all the things and do all the things, but Oh my gosh, like there's gazillion studies on people who win $1 million or more, like millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it like ruins their life because they're so dysregulated and they're still operating with a software system that doesn't allow for that kind of abundance. So it's another way of like self-sabotaging. You have to really get in touch with yourself and your truth through nervous system regulation in order to really not just call in the abundance that you're wanting and desiring, but like making room for it so that when you do get it, you don't sabotage it, right? It's really, really interesting how you can train your nervous system to expand for crazy amounts of abundance. Again, it's a practice. So let me see. I'm going to skip to, all right, well, how do we get stuck in our own way? I'm going to try and wrap this up as quickly as I can. Your beliefs and your labels, these are all reflections of you. So your environment really matters. Do you have like what does your circle of people look like? Do you have strong positive people around you? For a new you, you may need new relationships and certainly new boundaries. Because it's really, really, really important to stand guard to the door of your mind because it's like a sponge, right? It's created to be a sponge. It's constantly looking to figure out how to categorize experience and what that means. So you get to like really be your gatekeeper on that. And then you also really get to get really clear on what it is that you want, right? If you're not really clear on what it is you want, it's not going to happen. And it can't be like really general, like, oh my gosh, I just really want to be wealthy. I just want to be happy. I just want to be healthy. Like, what does that look like for you? What does joy look like for you? What does happiness look like for you? What does being successful, being wealthy, right? Wealthy is going to look very different for a lot of different people. Like, be very, very specific about what your goals are. Because that way you can't just complain that it doesn't work because you're not doing the work. Like, you have to be so clear on what it is your goals are, right? It can't just be like a broad stroke. Think about what you complain about, you know? What are you constantly complaining about that's still here? Think about it. Like, what are you blaming and complaining about that you're not willing to take accountability for? Right? That's just avoiding responsibility. So, I mean, we're all in the same boat. Like, no, nobody's special. We're all just human beings made up of the same things. So there's just people that are doing and then people that aren't doing. Like, are you watching your life or are you playing at it? So this is like the biggest factor in whether or not your life is turning out the way that you really want it, right? Because your brain doesn't really know real from what is not real, like what's made up. It's so powerful. Once you've trained it to think a certain way, it will continue to think that way. So these are where your limiting beliefs come in, limiting beliefs versus limitless belief, right? It's like this is a great example, the 4 minute miles. This is years and years ago. People believed that it was absolutely impossible to run a 4 minute mile. Doctors were like, it's physically impossible. You can't do it. Athletes tried, they failed. Until one person, Roger Bannister, broke it in 1954. And then within that next year, like 37 more people broke it. So what changed? Like bodies didn't all of a sudden like evolve differently over that year. The belief changed. That's it. People believed that it was possible. So it was no longer a barrier in their life. So it's the same thing. Like we create these barriers in our life that keep us stuck from all these things that we want to do. Like the limitation is just in the mind. But it's really, really hard to get clear on the very, very specific things if you are dysregulated because you're out of touch with your body and you're out of touch with your truth. So it's very important to take the time to regulate and drop into your body and really get aligned with like what it is you're really feeling and what it is your purposes and what it is your goals are, like very specifically, and why, because labels and limiting beliefs just create barriers to why you can't do something, like because of XYZ, like I can't do this, because I'm dyslexic, I'm not good at comprehending. It's like that's just, and trust me, I'm dyslexic and I have overcome a lot because I'm just like, well, no, that's just a label to help like categorize an understanding, but it doesn't need to be a label that keeps me stuck. Like my life has been just fine being dyslexic. So I implore you to like really make, right, that's right. That's right. Things always seem impossible until they're done. Absolutely. It's 100% of the time. It's 100% of the time seems impossible until somebody does it. And that is just a limitation. It's just a mindset limitation. So I would invite you guys to really like make a commitment to yourself right now that like in 2026, you're not going to be a victim. You're not going to play the blame game. You're going to do something different and you're going to become aware. And how do we become aware? We regulate. So labels and complaints, these create identities. It's just something that you get to accept in order to change it, right? It can just be neutral. So we are totally running out of time. And so I'm going to save this next part about like really what holds us, like how it works in our brain about labels and complaining and how that blinds people. So I'm going to leave that till tomorrow because I don't want to rush through that. And I feel like that is a really fascinating and an important part of connecting the dots. So I'm going to leave you here. And I'm going to drop in the chat a little piece of homework that I want you guys to do. Again, this is all about really getting to better know yourself, right? Like we think we know ourselves, but like let's see where we are and let's see um, how we are creating our own roadblocks and how we are creating our own stuckness and how we can move forward out of that. So I just dropped that into the chat. So go ahead and complete that for tomorrow. Also go over your health, wealth, and relationships. Really dig into that and rate them. Like rate them really, really honestly, you know? And also, and I'll include this in the follow-up email. Really get clear on what your goals are, like super, super, super specific. Your goals in your health, your goals with your wealth, your goals with your relationship, like super specific. And when you want them accomplished by, and then give yourself a consequence. Like what happens if you don't? Like a physical consequence, like something that you have to do that takes you really far out of your comfort zone, like far out that you're like, under no circumstance do I want to do this. So I'm going to commit everything that I have to completing this goal. Okay. So get really, really, really clear on that. Again, the more clear you are, the better it's going to be. Yep. So what your goal is, by when, what happens if you don't. Do you have a clear picture of this outcome? And what specific behaviors do you need to do daily to get it? Like, for example, if you let's just say for business, and you want to sell so many packages, it's like, okay, how many people do you need to call every day? How many do you need to close? How many is that per week? How many is that per month? Like break it down and get really, really, really specific so that if somebody was reading it who didn't know you could actually like follow the instruction plan. Okay. So that's what I want you guys to do. And draw your circles, right? Like who do you have in your life that is like really, really supporting you? And what does your circle of interference look like? Like who is not supporting you, right? Who's getting in your way? Who is a drain and a drag? Okay, cool. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. I will email you guys the homework. Yes, it's going to be in the homework, along with that self-relationship assessment. So awesome. So thank you guys so much for showing up. I will see you guys same time tomorrow, and I hope you have an awesome evening. By all means, respond to the email. I'll be checking all the emails and responses, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay? Have an amazing, amazing evening. For those of you in South Africa and everybody else, have a great day.